omume Kiwe wesu garani orianja nine oria nine nke pụrụ kwasa mmadụ dị ndụ n'ihi na ọ bụ naanị gị bụ onye na-agwọ ọrịa anyị wee na-akpọkụ gị onwe gị bụ sinele nke ndị agha ka iwe mere anyị ebere ka akwa nke anyị na-ebe ka ude nke anyị na-asụ wee bịa n'iru gị ka iwe mee ka Biafra wee guzosi ike ka anyị wee n'ikpete mazụ nye ha sọgụtụtara nsọpụrụ na ịja mma site n'ebighị ebi ma ruo n'ebighị ebi ise mma mmadụ dịrị gị Chineke Mama deregi Chineke. Mama deregi Chineke.
Welcome, my amazing viewers. Thank you so much for joining me on my program once again. I appreciate you wherever you're connecting from. If you are joining me from any part of the world, I thank you very much for your contributions on the channel. If you have not subscribed, please kindly subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you so much. And remember, in this channel, we talk about issues that has to do with the contraption called Nigeria. The indigenous people of Nigeria who has been subjugated, who have been enslaved by the Fulani Janjaweed in a country that doesn't belong to them. The Fulani Janjaweed is not indigenous to Nigeria. They are foreigners. But they are trying to take over Nigeria by all means possible. This plan is being supported by the government in power because Muhammad Buhari is a Fulani. He supports them by all means possible to see that they achieve their aim. But thank God, thanks to Chukwu Kabiama, who has given us our Nnamdi Kanu to wake us up, to wake people up and let them know what is about to come. And today, everything that Nnamdi Kanu has spoken of is happening one after the other. Thank God, thank Chukwu Kabiama for the revelation. We are standing and waiting, and we cannot allow them to take any inch of Biafra land. Nnamdi Kanu has ordered us to pray with him before he left, before he was kidnapped. We were in prayers. Remember, 150 days prayer, and today I think it's the 96th day of the prayer. If you have not started joining, please join. It is not yet late. That is the only way we can pray our way out and communicate with our Supreme Leader Nnamdi Kanu to be victorious in what is about to come. Today, you can see what is happening in Nigeria, that it is not all well anywhere. Everything that our Supreme Leader Nnamdi Kanu has spoken of is happening. When our Supreme Leader Nnamdi Kanu was talking about the Fulanization of Nigeria and the Islamization of Nigeria, people thought it was a joke. But now, everything is out there. You can now understand the message clearer than ever. Clearer than ever. You can now, even if you never understood the message before, now when they are talking about the open grazing, this open grazing have revealed a lot of things. So many things that are hidden are being exposed. And when you hear people talk about the issue of the grazing, you will know where they stand and what they are pursuing. When you look at the so-called map of Nigeria that they always display, a fraudulent map, they always claim that they have the largest landmass. Ask me, why are they bent on taking the land that belongs to the south? Why are they bent on coming to the south? They are pushing their cow to the south, talking about open grazing. The cow that the Fulanis are boasting of having cow has nothing to add to Nigeria's economy. Nigeria do not export meat to any place. They don't export cow to any part of West Africa, let alone exporting to the world, because the cow they are even caring about is diseased. A diseased cow. No country, no sensible country will allow the meat to enter their country. And because of this very infected cow, that is why the indigenous people of Nigeria are suffering, and they want to kill people by all means possible. You have seen their so-called president, the late president who have died and left the script for them, the marksman in Asorock, saying that he is going to pursue the open grazing, still going along with open grazing, trying to recover the grazing route of centuries, grazing route of Ottoman Danfodio, grazing route of Ahmad Bello. We are in the 21st century, and how can you see a sane person talking about grazing route? The only thing that has to come to your mind that answers the whole question is that he is pursuing an agenda, which is Islamization of Nigeria by all means possible. They don't care what you say. They don't care what you do. But the most painful aspect of this is that people from the southern part of Nigeria are playing along with this very project. People from the southern part of Nigeria, even the southeast, are playing along with this project of Fulanization, taking the indigenous people's land from them by force. You can see the killing that is happening all over. Those that were supposed to protect the people are saying nothing, neither are they protecting them. The governors are helpless. In the southeast more especially, they are only playing and dancing to the tune of the janjaweed. This is the situation the southeast have found themselves. And every other southern governors, they are so weak that they cannot stand up to this very president who have bent on Fulanizing the country and Islamizing the country. A secular country where people are supposed to practice any religion they deem fit. That is not what the Fulanis want. They don't accept it. Each time you hear them talk about one Nigeria, you think they are preaching one Nigeria for your own benefit. The one Nigeria they are talking about is the Islamic Nigeria. The Caliphate Nigeria, that is one Nigeria. And each time somebody from the southern part of Nigeria talks of that one Nigeria, you are calling for your own death. And they are not going to spare you. It doesn't matter even if you're a Muslim. They won't spare you. For those of us who are Muslims in the north, even in the southern part of Nigeria who are Muslims, and because of that, they begin to dance to the tune of the Janjaweed and follow everything they say, think they are going to be free. You cannot be free from what is coming. You can't be free. The northern part of Nigeria, you can see what they are facing. They are killing both Muslims and Christians all around, left, right, and center. The only people who are controlling the show are the Fulanis. They are not scared. They don't care about you. Neither do they care about anybody. They care about themselves. And you hear when the governor of Bauchi State was saying that the Fulanis are Fulani everywhere. Fulanis are not just Nigerians. They are not Nigerians. They are not Nigerians. Bauchi State governor said it on national television that Fulanis are Fulanis wherever they come from in Africa. That they are just Fulanis. And that is what they are showing. They don't care about any other tribe except themselves. That is why they are killing everybody. Every indigenous tribe in Nigeria is facing this very terror. Thank God for Asuna Mazin Nandekan, who have been able to secure the Southeast with the Eastern Security Network. At least the Southeast has a little peace. The only disturbance we have in the Southeast is the disturbance caused by the Boko Haram that the government himself have forced on the Southeast to make sure that they take our land, but they will never succeed. It doesn't matter how they try. Come with their military, come with their nations, they will never succeed. They will fail. They will perish in our land, just like what Asuna Mazin Nandekan have told them. It will definitely happen.
But the biggest job of government is what gets us talking. That is security. Anywhere you live, you think about security. But it does look like the governors of the state are thinking about taking measures of ensuring that their states are well secured. Several governors are taking those measures to secure the state in the face of the killings and kidnappings that we've seen by bandits and some of those who disguise as herders. Today, the Ondo State Governor, Rotimi Akeredolu, signed into law the anti-grazing bill passed by the State House of Assembly. The state government says the governor signed the bill into law in his office today. It said that the move is in line with the resolution of the Southern Governors Forum at its last meeting in Lagos, where in September the 1st, they set a deadline for governors in southern Nigeria to sign the anti-open grazing bill into law. And in Katsina State, in the northwest region of the country, Governor Aminu Masari has issued an executive order banning the movement of cattle from the state to other parts of the country. Governor also ordered the total closure of the Jebia Gobin Bari Road to motorists, while the Kankaras Sheme Road was closed to commercial vehicles. He also banned the sale of petrol in jerrycans to motorists at filling stations. Well, the measures, according to Governor Masari, are to contain the security challenges bedeviling the state, and the enforcement comes into effect today. Let's discuss this, everyone, these measures and the implications. These are not the only governors who are making these measures, but these are the ones who have made those moves today, and we're dissecting them for you. I'm being joined by two lawyers, Mr. Afam Oshigwe, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, and Mr. Daniel Buala, a lawyer and a member of the Lincoln's Inn in London. And virtually is Senator Nicholas Tofowomo in Ile-Oluji. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us tonight. Thanks. I think I should begin with from you, Mr. Buala. These are measures taken by the governors. I mean, a lot of people have asked that the governors should take a bold move and take control of their territories. But it does look like some of them are making that move. It's interesting that we've seen Governor Masari make, it does look to me, this is one of the most drastic measures that you see a governor make in the respect of these grazing and cattle herders and farmers clash situation. What's your view on that, for example?
Well, thank you for having me. In the same way that the president takes an oath of office to defend the Constitution and protect the lives of Nigerians, the Constitution also provides for the governor of the state to swear to an oath to uphold the Constitution and the laws of that land, the state, and then to take measures that are necessary in protecting the life of the citizens of the state. Now, this is the only situation where I find the governors taking positions that I consider as apt and decisive. And this is like an alternative to the natural cry for state police, because the insecurity in every state is peculiar. So, and the idea that we profile a criminal element in a particular name or particular description is what has given the opportunity to the criminal element to perpetuate, crime in the various states in which they are operating. The governor has the constitutional right to take measures to protect his citizens, and that's why the House of Assembly of the state can enact a law like the way they did in the southern Nigeria to ban open grazing. And the argument that is not constitutional is also a debatable argument. And I don't think that banning, restricting movement for the purposes of preserving the safety and the peace of the people, especially when you look at that, having regard to the provisions of the Land Use Act, can be construed as an unconstitutional measure. But if you permit me, there is a context that we need to put this conversation into. The idea that the president is insisting on locating a grazing route. I listened to the interview where I heard for myself how the president said, when the question was put to him, he now said, I asked my attorney general to dust the old Northern Nigerian anti-grazing, Northern Nigerian grazing laws, and then locate the grazing route. And then he told the people interviewing him, do you want me to contradict my attorney general? It is at that, I'm a careful listener. It is at that point I felt the president's decision is anchored on an advice by the attorney general. Unfortunately, the the grazing laws of the Northern Nigeria, which came into force in 1956, does not have universal applicability toward the Federation of Nigeria. Those who argue and say that that law finds residency in Section 315 of the Constitution, which provides that nothing shall preclude an existing law from having the force of law so long as it is not inconsistent with the provisions of the Constitution, to also factor this issue, that at the time that law was enacted, the entire Northern Nigeria was under one legislative branch. But in this case, Nigeria is operating a federating unit where you have various states and there are various laws. So can that law be applicable in two states that operate distinctive law-making powers? The answer is in the negative. And that is why it is my belief that the idea of grazing route will never sail in Nigeria, even looking at it within the framework of the law, not even talking about the politics of it.
So the president asking a committee, a team headed by the chief of staff, to go and do just that. If you say that it will not hold water, you're invariably saying that is a task of no consequence.
Right, because locating a grazing route across Nigeria means that the committee or whoever is tasked with that responsibility will be mandated to go into states that under the Land Use Act is under the powers of the governor to begin to then encroach on those lands.
But he said that in that statement that was released by the office of the president, that in conversations or in consultation with stakeholders, which I presume that the governors are also coming to the part. And they are also stating in that statement that they will also consult the state of which states out of 25 or so states that are consulting, which of them want to release their land.
I know that because of the laws of 1956 in the north, you're going to find a greater number of states in the north agreeing to that and even providing land. Because if you remember, that decision that brought that law into force in 1956 was a decision that was guided by economic, economic motivation. Because at the time, animal husbandry was the baseline of economy of the north, apart from agriculture. And so it was imperative at the time to enact a law that all parts of the northern region was going to be acceptable or agreeable to it. So you might find states in the north that will agree to that and even provide the land. But its application in states that are not willing will now raise the issue of constitution. And to me, it's not even something we should go to the moon to combat, because it will now be in clear violation of the Land Use Act, which, of course, the RAV is authority from the Constitution.
Yeah, and it's under the purview of the governor. The governors have the right and the prerogative to be able to determine that. So, Mr. Shigwe, give us a sense of the kind of decision made by Governor Masari today. How, in the face of the Nigerian Constitution, the governor said that the power was derived in the subsection 2 of the section 176 of the Constitution when he made that executive order. But how powerful is that kind of executive order banning the transportation of cattle, and what effect do you think it will have in the scheme of the security situation in Katsina State, for example?
John, I don't know how to say it, but I'm not a security expert. But I will tell you this. The problem with that executive order is that governors hide under the act of making executive orders to assume lawmaking powers. And this is a clear case of executive lawmaking not backed up by law. Now, the Constitution has given the executive the power to execute the provisions of the Constitution and implement provisions of laws made by the legislature. So it means that when a governor or a president makes an executive order, it will be to give effect to an existing law made by the legislature of that state. And instead of Governor Masari pointing to section 162, he said
176.
176. I thought he would have pointed me to a law that allows him to do what he's doing. But I weep for the people of Katsina State or people of neighboring states who may need to pass through those routes. And it worries me that some of our governors and indeed persons in power don't see it as anything to just wake up and close down roads without providing alternative routes.
Even if
shut down businesses. And I wonder what is the rationale for singling out cattle transportation. Not goat, not chicken, not some other animal.
Sorry, apologies, before you go far.
Please.
Do the governors have the power and the prerogative to make decisions to secure the lives of those whom they govern? Even such laws or decisions that are exigencies, and I say exigencies in the sense that when it affects the lives of people, and you needed to make an urgent decision to stop the killings of people. Katsina State has been on the receiving end also of this banditry.
Now, Shell, the fact that a state like Katsina, like quite a number of states now in Nigeria, that have been under constant security threat, need to take action, does not mean that any action is thereby justifiable. Some actions don't make sense. And I'm trying to find my way. An
executive order is not.
And I'm trying to find my way around this executive order. And regrettably, I was not able to read it before coming in here. So I do not also know whether this executive order has an end period, has a duration. Will the people be unable to use this road for as long as it pleases the governor? Are the people passing through other states affected by this executive order? And when you say commercial activities, is there any rationale for singling out commercial activities, commercial transportation, existing from private transport? And how do you distinguish between the two? We must be able to look at a problem holistically and find solutions that address those problems. We don't just have a knee-jerk reaction. Maybe somebody whispers into the governor and says, shut down the road. You shut down the road without caring about its effect on the livelihood of the people, on so many other things.
Can such an executive order be challenged in court?
Obviously, people are affected by it can challenge it.
But
I fear that the snail speed, if you call that speed at all, at which matters go through our courts, may not bring succor to the people.
The executive order takes effect today.
It takes effect today.
And one of the issue here is that the governor says it comes out of the issue of security and the need to protect the people of the state. And The executive order was issued yesterday, and it takes effect today. But again, if you look at it, some of the issue that the governor in Katsina State raised, he cited the security challenges, the containment order, and he said it should come into effect today. And these are some of the things that I understand are also based on the consultations and meetings by a committee set up by the governor.
So I would like to believe that some of the roads affected by this ban on movement are interstate roads. Neighboring states. People from neighboring states may be unable to pass through Katsina to get to their destinations. They may have to look for alternative routes, or be unable to move, or in a normal situation, may create an opportunity for unscrupulous security agencies to have a bazaar.
But is there an option, an alternative option for the governor in the face of what is happening?
And I would like the governor to convince me how this issue will stop the security challenges being faced in Katsina. And I dare tell you that it will not scratch the surface. At a time like this, I said this on a program here or some other forum, that we should be worried that at a time of great security challenge, there are no emergency numbers people can call. When people are kidnapped, there are no security agencies to provide guidance and assistance to victims of these kidnappings and all that. And I thought a governor faced by such security challenges would be more interested in putting this infrastructure. How is it possible that people will kidnap over 100 people and move them across hundreds of kilometers and nobody stops them? Nobody gives information and nobody is able to stop them. How are they able to get supply? How is it that the local populace is not able to provide? Where are they keeping these hundreds of people and keep them for weeks?
Mr. Oshugwe, let me get your view on the anti-grazing law that was signed today by Governor Akeredolu. It's part of the agreement by the southern governors. Are you in support of that?
Now, let me say this, Seun. Unfortunately, most views being expressed in Nigeria are being seen from the prism of ethno-religious politics. And people are being, some people look at you from where you're from. Certain decisions are being looked at from the point of those who are making it. But it's open grazing, the idea of nomadic herding, a problem in Nigeria. Clearly it is. It has led to clashes. The clashes between communities. It has led to so many deaths. Will any government be right in finding solutions to it? Of course. And I think instead of the federal government being besotted with the idea of restoring grazing routes, and I agree with my colleague, Mr. Buala, I cannot see that law of Northern Nigeria standing in the light of the clear provisions of the Land Use Act, because it means that even if there was such a route, remember, it says routes, it did not say federal lands. It's not as if federal government acquired the land that constituted the routes. So it means you're going to violate private ownership of property to reestablish the routes. And what happens if there have been buildings? Is the federal government going to pull them down? I think it's time we sat down to look at this issue of nomadic herding, its effect on the economy, its effect of peaceful coexistence of various communities, and address them. And I think the states that are passing laws should also find a ways of also making those that will be adversely affected by these laws to also have a sense of belonging, that it is not being targeted at them because they don't seem to be indigenous to those states or the communities where they are found.
I'm itching to know what Mr. Buala's views are going to be on Governor Masari's decision. But just for a moment, let me bring in the senator, because the senator is involved because he states that the governor in your state now has passed this bill. Were you looking forward to it? And how does this come to you as a senator from Ondo State? All right, let's just give the senator a moment to do just that. But I wanted to know what's your view on Governor Masari's executive order.
There are two issues with respect to the decision by Governor Masari. Number one is that the law is that nothing shall preclude any law that is reasonably made in a democratic society, meaning that Katsina State can pass a law in the midst of this chaotic situation that can restrict the movement of cattle. But it has to be a law passed by the House of Assembly of Katsina. Unfortunately, most states in Nigeria, the House of Assembly don't make laws. They take directive from governors. That's one breath. Then the second breath is executive order. For the governor to issue executive order of this nature, the appropriate thing for the governor to do will be first to declare a state of emergency. Then he can give an executive order, because state of emergency is a way of circumventing the law within the ambit of the law.
So let's get it clearly. President Buhari signs executive orders.
Right.
So the governors don't have the right to sign executive orders.
They do have.
Okay.
But the nature of the executive order, for example, you can sign executive order regarding health matters. This is a pandemic period. But this is security matter. Security matter is not something that comes with time. It is enshrined in the Constitution. The security of life and the welfare of the people is the responsibility of government. It's there. So it is not like you are saying we did not foresee it. And you are now going to touch fundamental part of the Constitution, which is the restriction to their right to move, right to carry out economic activities. It's fundamental. So to be able to do that, you first must establish that the state is otherwise not in a right situation for normal governance, which is declaring state of emergency. When you do that, then you issue an executive order that must also have a time limit, like the way my senior colleague said. It cannot be in perpetuity. So you must say that this executive order is issued consequent on the state of emergency for so period within so period of time. But it seems that in Nigeria, we are not ready to follow procedure of law. We just issue an order that anybody can go to the court of law and challenge it now. For example, the Constitution says if there is any law that is inconsistent with the provision of the Constitution, that law, to the extent of the inconsistency, is void. So the person will say the Constitution says I have right to move and I have right to carry out economic activities. Then you are now bringing the executive order. The order and the Constitution, which one is inconsistent? But if you declare state of emergency and then you issue executive order, if you look at the Constitution with respect to the powers of executives to declare state of emergency, it permits of this kind of
So
situation.
can a state governor declare state of emergency in his own state?
State House of Assembly, I make the case that State House of Assembly can pass a resolution that the governor can act upon it. Now, alternatively, the governor can also seek that the president declares a state of emergency. But usually, when the president has to declare state of emergency, it is in a situation where there is obvious chaotic situation in the state, but the governor is not cooperating. There is need for federal intervention. That's why the president can go ahead. But nothing precludes or prohibits a governor from declaring state of emergency, like in health, in education, including.
So when the president declares a state of emergency in a state, the powers of the governors, from what I understand, is suspended.
No, he does not suspend the powers of a democratically elected governor.
It still acts
it only permits the federal intervention in the state for the purposes of addressing the very purpose for which state of emergency is declared. So if there is insecurity, there are riot or religious crisis in the state that the governor has now become incapable of managing, the president declares state of emergency and send federal troops, which ordinarily he will not have the power to just send troops into the civil society. But because of the declaration of state of emergency, he can send federal troops to quell the situation. But while that is going on, it does not stop the governor from carrying out duties as ascribed to him by the Constitution.
All right. I have a feeling that the senator is back with us. Okay, I understand now that it's not, we're still trying to fix up the technical issues with his connection. So now that the governor has done the executive order, which it does look like the two lawyers here don't quite agree with that move. So can there be a retroactive move just to make things work, or not just to make things right? Now that for you think that it's not the right step to make, but he said he's made it because of the security of lives of his people. Now that has been made, what else can he do to make it right?
Now, let me say this, Sean. A legislature can pass a law that is retroactive or retrospective, but it will not create an offense or make an act or omission that was not such an offense before the law was passed. So in respect to civil matters, this House can pass a law tomorrow and give this law effect to say a few days ago to justify the action of the governor. Because the right to freedom of movement and some of the fundamental rights in the Constitution can be derogated from by a law justified in a democratic society. So if there's a law that we see as, any democratic society will be right, I'm talking about the absence of law. Now, I'm not also saying that a governor cannot take certain steps. But when the law is so drastic as to almost extinguish people's rights to carry on their economic activities, to move, or for even travelers to pass through that state, such an action or order by the executive should be grounded in a law duly passed by the legislature.
All right.
It is certain that some people are bent on killing themselves. Thank God for Mazen Nadekano. Biafrans are going home. No matter what people say, no matter what they do, Biafrans are going home. And we must go home. We must go home. We are asking them peacefully to let us go. But if they decide the other way around, so be it. We cannot chicken away from it. The most important thing is that it's either Biafra or death. That is the assignment that every Biafran have taken up. And thank God for the spirit of Biafra that have possessed everybody. Nobody is regretting their efforts. Everybody is fighting tooth and nail to make sure that we succeed in the struggle of Biafra. And definitely, we will surely get to promised land. May Chuko Kakabiama continue to protect us with the Martin Nandikan. May Chuko Kakabiama strengthen us with the Martin Nandikan. May Chuko Kakabiama give him good health wherever he is. And soon, he is coming to join us. We'll move into Biafra with our flag lifted high. In a country flowing with milk and honey, a place we'll be proud to defend. Thank you so much for watching. And God bless. Bye-bye. See you again on the next video.